you and Alex Jones got married, right? How's that going?
You know what's so funny is I went to a comedy show. I actually went to Rogan's show here in Austin, and this guy came up to me and he's like, "You're Alex Jones' wife, right?" And he was completely serious. It was not
Oh
a
my
joke.
God.
He like was really thinking that, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's
Um,
amazing. That's amazing.
Alex is so sweet. He really is like he reminds me of just like a teddy bear. He's not scary. People treat him like he's this like scary figure, but he's the sweetest person ever. He doesn't have like a malicious bone in his body, in my opinion. And I'm not going to sit here and say he gets everything right because I've told him to his face, like what I've said to him, and I've said this on air and to his face, and I say it with all the love I have in the world. I've said, "You are the internet's crazy uncle.
Hmm.
You talk a lot of shit. People tend to tune you out. You're right about a lot of stuff and you're wrong about a lot of stuff. But when you're right, you are so right." And people are like, "Okay, Uncle Alex, I guess that's the truth. Cool." So he's a good person, and it's interesting forming a friendship with someone who is so hated, and there is such a caricature of him in the ether that is
Hmm.
not really him. And I understand it to an extent because there's also a caricature of me in the ether that's not 100% accurate to who I am, but it's so much more dramatic with him. Obviously, like he got parodied in the Spider-Man movie. People,
Yeah, that's
he
right.
gets parodied as like this crazy person, and again, he is kind of crazy, but um he's demonized to the point where people, I think it's a bit ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's a good person, and um yeah, I take everything he says with a grain of salt, as I think you should. Um, we went to dinner with him a few weeks ago, and it was like a super fun time. And he got everyone's bill, and he was talking to people in the restaurant, very friendly. Like he's just cool.
Yeah, I can tell immediately when someone starts talking about Alex if they've actually not really listened to any of his content or done any
Yeah,
research. Same thing with Joe or like even you or Tim Pool or any of those more prominent figures. It's like you can recognize the talking points so quickly.
you can
Um,
totally identify the talking points. Like with Joe, it's like, oh, he's people will say he's a conservative. Clearly,
yeah,
never watched him. He's
which is
not. They'll say
crazy.
he's anti-vaxxer. Clearly, he's not. He's pro-choice. People will say, "Oh, I'm a self-hating trans person." I consider myself to be among the happiest trans people I know.
They do say that about you.
Alex Jones is a far-right conspiracy theorist. Yeah, you recognize the "I've never watched, but I'm going to talk shit anyways" sort
Yep.
of vibe, which is
Yeah.
annoying.